Wrestling is bollocks. I say that with the utmost respect to the masters of the craft who put themselves physically and emotionally out there night after night, but it is though, it's bollocks. But it's good bollocks. Sometimes it's bad bollocks trying to be good bollocks, and that's where you get, well, bollocks. But sometimes the bollocks lands just right, and in that sweet spot of wrestling bollocks, you'll find, perched on a hot stone, Mr. Iguana. The wrestling world caught the green fever on Saturday when this tongue-lapping chappie crawled into the ring at Worlds Collide alongside his buddy Leesca. He crawled into our very souls as he did so. Daubed in green face paint, licking and kicking through the opening trios match, he left his opponents so spellbound and confused that it forced Lince Dorado to hit a Spanish fly on a puppet. His impact was so unexpectedly great that WWE higher-ups could not ignore it, and they insisted that he be ringside for Money in the Bank later that night, where he got a pop from the crowd that would only be surpassed by R-Truth a short while later. But who is this herbivorous enigma? What lies ahead for AAA's resident reptile? More so, why are the antics of a silly-scaled superstar captured our imagination? Well, join me on board this bandwagon as we get into the metaphorical tropical undergrowth to further examine Mr. Iguana. When he was merely a hatchling, Mr. Iguana would watch AAA with his grandfather, where he was captivated by Rey Mysterio in his early incarnation as the Lizard. This would serve as inspiration for a career to come. Studying for a degree in communication, Mr. Iguana worked in TV and radio studios in his formative years, presumably in climate-controlled sound stages with an hour lunch break in order to eat a bowl of leafy greens. He spent time in the US in the mid-noughties, where Eddie Guerrero's WWE title reign was having a major impact back home. In an interview with Lucha Central, Mr. Iguana credits the spring of Latino heat, leading to more wrestling schools opening in Mexico, including one in his hometown of Culiacan. This is where he stepped into the ring for the very first time. Training to wrestle under the guidance of lucha names such as Vampiro Inferno, Doberman and Dolpher, Mr. Iguana scuttled into the ring for the first time on a global promotions event in his home city in December of 2009. Even picked up a victory over Frank El Payaso. However, his second match, which was a 2 out of 3 falls trios contest, would see him attempt an Acai moonsault, and in doing so suffer a broken nose, forcing him to the hot rock of the sidelines for at least a month. This barely slowed our boy's momentum. He fast became a fan favourite wherever he went. He was even crowned Global Promotions Rookie of the Year. Not a bad start for a lizard with a broken nose. So this was the world's first look at Mr. Iguana. Not going down the typical babyface route of wearing a mask, instead, inspired by the great Muta, opting for green face paint to make him stand out. In fact, a lot of his mannerisms would be inspired by either Muta or actual iguanas. He's spoken about how iguanas, indigenous to his hometown, would often jump in the air and look like they're hitting a plancha, which is a strange but true source of inspiration. A trip to Philadelphia to be part of Neophyte Pro was a pivotal point in shaping Mr. Iguana. It was on that show, which was inspired by the monster-mashing wrestling subgenre Kaiju Big Battle, that Iguana was able to finesse his comedy element of his persona and curate something that was both an entertaining character and an exciting lucha athlete. This was the same card that featured Jordan Oliver versus Shark Sabre Jr., by the way. And this might be the only chance I get to draw this match to your attention. And believe me, if you love what Mr. Iguana is all about, this match deserves your attention too. Mr. Iguana got a lot of attention now that he'd really found his voice. So confident in his ability to entertain, sell tickets and win people over, he put out a bet to prospective promoters. If they booked him and didn't like him and people didn't cheer him, Mr. Iguana would fully refund his wrestling fee and all the travel expenses. Many promoters took him up on it, and every time Mr. Iguana won. Iguana's journey through the indies wasn't alone. On the way, we'd all meet Leesca, Mr. Iguana's sidekick. He'd often be thrown around, scrapped with, even snogged during Iguana's matches. Some have argued that it's technically outside interference, but just like the rulebook doesn't say that dogs can't play basketball, it doesn't say that iguanas can't run interference. Leesca became the final piece in Mr. Iguana's scaly puzzle. See, who'd have thought that wrestling fans would connect so strongly with a hand puppet? That just seems daft to me. It all led to a debut with AAA in 2018, consequently signing a contract with them as well. Presumably a signing bonus led to him getting his own Corona-sponsored vivarium too. Mr. Iguana claims that Leesca was actually the one that got the contract. He's just along for the ride. And what a ride it has been, mixing it up with the likes of Black Taurus, Sammy Guevara, Ultimo Dragon, LA Park, Dr. Wagner Jr., and he actually won his first AAA championship at the first AAA show overseen by WWE, winning the mixed tag team title with La Hiedra on the 31st of May. And this brings us to Worlds Collide and that trios match featuring our boy and Octagon Jr. and Aerostar facing the LWO. Now, WWE's focus was clearly on Octagon. They did a whole angle where Dominic Mysterio challenged him to an Intercontinental title match. But the universe made it loud and proud and clear that they loved Mr. Iguana, the Iguana Ranas, and the dastardly Spanish fly to Leesca came close to turning the LWO heel as well. Fightful Select reports that the reaction to Mr. Iguana was loud and unexpected, which led to him being in ringside for Money in the Bank. And when the camera cut to our lad sticking his tongue out and chilling with Leesca, the crowd came alive. Reports followed from The Observer, from PW Insider, and from Fightful that WWE were gripped by our new green icon and they wanted to showcase him on WWE TV more. This led to when we had such a busy weekend of wrestling, a whole video package on Raw this past week was devoted to Mr. Iguana because so many people were talking about him. I loved watching Mr. Iguana at Worlds Collide, as we all did. But I've taken so much more joy in learning about the man behind the green. See, away from wrestling, Mr. Iguana is being just as wholesome as he is in the ring. He teaches self-defense classes to school kids. He's a jiu-jitsu specialist, and he wants to make sure he passes that knowledge along to a new generation. He's very proud of being a positive influence, saying in one training video on his channel, "It's better to be a warrior in a land of flowers than a florist in a land of war." He also speaks with so much pride about his place within the wrestling stars, the comedy underdog who gives people hope. Of all people doing wrestling on a hefty graps-laden Saturday for WWE, this opening character in the opening match of Worlds Collide was the one that drew people in the most. And I think a big part of that is authenticity. I'm not saying that Mr. Iguana is authentically a reptile. I'm saying that he plays the character with such passion and such conviction, you can't help but fall in love with it. I love talking to people about their hobbies, especially if it's a hobby that I don't have, obviously if it's legal as well. Because when you talk to people about stuff they're passionate about, you see their eyes light up in a way that they don't normally do. And I think that there's real love in there. And there's something about watching the way that Mr. Iguana plays Mr. Iguana that really captures that. And I think that's why he had such an effect on us, you know. Next time you're on a date or hanging out with a mate and they're talking about something that means something to them, look in their eyes. It's hard not to be drawn into it as well. And because Mr. Iguana really loves being Mr. Iguana, I end up loving it all the more. He's also a reminder that wrestling is actually fun. It's easy to lose sight of that when you're 50 replies deep into an argument with Roman Reigns' Cool 34 about whether R-Truth Return was a work or a shoot, or if you're being drawn into a debate with somebody who has Pepe the Frog as an avatar about why AEW dropping t-shirt prices means they're months from collapse. Discourse is always encouraged, but we can't lose sight of why we're here. We're here because we love the escapism and the joy that wrestling brings us. Not everybody will love or even like the silly part of wrestling. That's okay. I'm not here to say what's right or wrong. This is just an opinion. If people don't like comedy characters like Mr. Iguana, or if people only like comedy characters like Mr. Iguana, to quote the great Mel Robbins, let them. For me, it's part of what makes wrestling a variety pack of greatness. Personally, while I love losing myself in a competitive 30-minute Will Ospreay banger, I also love a man painted green pretending to be a lizard getting angry that somebody attacked his hand puppet. In all, its flavours, its colours, wrestling is fun. From a business standpoint as well, WWE and TKO see the incredible potential in a character like Mr. Iguana as somebody who can be a bridge. I mean, not a literal bridge. I mean, the guy's already got his hands full being an iguana. He's somebody that can have mainstream wrestling appeal, not unlike what we saw with Joe Hendry, who non-wrestling fans can be drawn into wrestling through. I've already been sent a picture of Mr. Iguana from an old college friend who only really messages me when she sees something wrestling related on her Facebook feed. They follow up the picture with a message saying, "OMG, mate, who is this? I love them." Iguana Mania is already starting to bubble. For the already converted WWE fans as well, Mr. Iguana could be a gateway to Lucha Libre. WWE's mission statement includes putting more eyeballs on AAA, hence the crossover craziness that we saw on Saturday. A character like Mr. Iguana appearing on WWE and NXT programming is an easy win to draw new people over. Come for the wild antics of Leesca, stay for the incredible Lucha shenanigans. Now, I'm not discounting the awesome work of guys like Vikingo, who I think is absolutely the right guy on top of AAA right now. On top of that mountain, Vikingo lives. But Mr. Iguana could play a crucial role into bringing tourists to that mountain in the months to come, presumably whilst perched on a hot stone, reminding us all that sometimes wrestling is bollocks. Stay safe. Love you. Bye.